Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to be discussing UFC Fight Night Oliveira versus Gamrot. For those of you that have been watching me for a little bit, if you can notice a little bit, I've done a little work to my area. It's still a work in progress. I got to move the light because it's in the wrong spot. That's why there's no light bulbs in it right now. There'd be just too much glare coming off the camera. But, I mean, I've got a little bit done. So I got drywall on two sides, on the ceiling. So as you can see, it's a little bit better. It's getting there. So anyways, the first thing I'd like to say is, first of all, I want to thank everyone that's been watching, that's been subscribing. I just like, for anyone that's watching this, please help out the channel, like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and it'd be greatly appreciated. So let's get into this. And by the way, this is a 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. So if you're on the West Coast, it's going to be fairly early, 1 p.m. But the first fight of the night is going to be Oliveira versus Lacerda. I think this is going to be a striker versus grappler matchup. And I just think Lacerda's pressure and grappling is just going to be way too much. Oliveira can be taken down. I think a sub is actually live in this fight. I mean, I do lean for it to go over, but I like Lacerda a lot as a money line parlay. I believe he's in the minus 275 range. I think one book I got him at minus 265. So I like Lacerda a lot to get the win. I'm just not sure how. So I could see him getting a sub. I could see him going to decision. So as a money line piece, it's a stay away. But I do have Lacerda in a parlay, and I will pull those up at the end of the show for everybody. Next fight, we got Palastri versus Kalakawewicz. Now, Kalakawewicz is I think 39 years old, so just keep that in mind too. And Palastri is going to be the stronger fighter, the faster fighter, the better technical striker, have more power on the feet. I think she's going to dominate on the feet. And I think she's going to dominate for 3 rounds. She generally doesn't have a lot of power. She is live to get a sub in this fight also, but I do lean the over, but I'm not betting it at all. If I were to sprinkle anything in this fight, it would actually be Palastri KO plus 900. That's, for a couple of bucks, and that's it. I'm not going to be using her as a money line parlay either, even though I do think she gets an easy win. But she's literally minus 450 or something like that, I think. So I'm not going to touch the money line with her. And I'm not touching either one of the female fights on the overs like normally I would. On to our next fight. We got Rocha versus Nickel. Rocha's going to be the better striker, but Nickel is going to by far be the better wrestler and grappler and submission artist. I like Nickel to be getting the takedowns in this fight. I lean Nickel to get the win, but it's a no bet for me. Just a lot of unknowns with both fighters. So it's to stay away from me. If I was to bet anything on this fight, it would probably be the over 2.5 if I was to do anything, but I'm not going to. Our next fight is Alexieva versus Mesquite. This is another one where I want to see her fight in the UFC first. Mesquite's coming from the LFA, I believe. It's her first UFC fight. And she's a minus 500 favorite. But I will say this. She's god awful on the feet. She's not a good striker, but she's a great grappler. Um, and I look for her to get Alexiva down and down early and often, and probably it's probably only going to take one takedown, and she'll probably get a submission. So if you are to bet this fight, I would bet Mesquite by submission, possibly even a first round sub. Might not be a bad look if you can get it at. I'm not sure what it is. I know her sub line's at minus 120. Her first round sub is probably a plus 150 range, something like that. That would be my lean. And once again, this fight is going to be a no bet for me. I tend to stay away from new fighters and fighters making their UFC debut unless I feel really confident in them. And our next one is going to be Petrino versus Peterson. I think Peterson's going to have the more power. Sorry. Petrino is going to have the more power. Peterson is going to be the better technical striker. Both of these fighters can wrestle. Peterson might be able to grapple a little bit better. I tend to favor Petrino's power and just having more wow moments throughout the fight. And I actually look for Petrino to get a knockout at some point in this fight. So I'm leaning Petrino by KO. Once again, it's a fight that I don't have any stake on, but that is what I think is going to happen, is Petrino by KO. Our next fight, sorry, I've been looking off. I got my my whiteboard in a little different area with my new setup, and I probably need to move it so that I don't look over to the right constantly. Our next fight is going to be Filo versus Carpenter. This is truly a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. They both are decent strikers. Carpenter is definitely the better striker, though. But they're both really good on the mat. They're both really good wrestlers. I'm looking for Carpenter to keep this fight standing for the most part and become the better technical striker through the fight and through all three rounds. This is one that I do like the over. I think Filo's got the better submission attempts, but I think Carpenter will stay safe in here. And I look for Carpenter to get the decision win and keep it on the feet for the most part. But it's a no bet for me. I don't really have hardly any wagers at all on these early fights. I almost feel like I want to put something on one or two of them, just as sprinkles, just so that I have something. I mean, I'm like that sometimes where, maybe a sprinkle on the Mesquite, submission, or the Plastreet, KO or inside the distance for shits and giggles, or Lacerda, something with Lacerda, something like that. I might do something small like that, but this is the first fight that I've got a lot of interest in. I'm wagering on, and this is Almeida versus Aswell. I'm looking for this fight to stay on the feet all three rounds. I don't think either fighter is going to go for a takedown, and Aswell is a pressure, high volume striker, and Almeida is also a good striker, just not as high of a volume as Aswell is, in my opinion. Aswell so far in the UFC averages 9 significant strikes per minute. Now, mind you, that's in just 2 fights, so it's not a big sample size. I would not go out there and say, oh, okay, he averages 9 per minute. If this fight goes 15 minutes, then he's going to end up with 140 significant strikes. Not necessarily. I wouldn't just do the math like that. But what I do like in this fight is I do like the over. I like both fighters to be junkyard dogs because they're both pretty tough. As well, we'll take one to give one, 100%. And he's going to be putting on the pressure for 15 minutes, where I could potentially see Almeida fade in the third round. So here is my wager on the fight. It's going to be as well significant strikes over 76.5 at a -115. And I'm waiting for the ladders to come out. I don't know why, but FanDuel has not come out with their significant strike props yet on any of the fights except for the main event. I'm hoping they do come out. They usually do, because I couldn't even cook up a significant strike parlay for everybody because of it. But this is one of those fights where I would probably consider even using it as a parlay piece as well to have more significant strikes than Almeida. I'm hoping that the 100 plus is in the plus 300 range, but we'll have to wait and see when it comes out. It might only be in the plus 200 range. If it is the plus 200 range, then I'll probably put enough on the 76.5 to win one unit, and then I'll probably put like a half a unit on the 100 plus. And I might even just skip the 90 plus. So that's what I got on that fight there. And just to mind you, I do not mind the Almeida side also. On the significant strikes, that is. And then this is the next fight, Ramos versus Olfi. I think this is a clear mismatch. I don't know what they're thinking. And the odds really aren't that bad. -195 or something like that for Ramos. So I like that a lot. I think Ramos is going to be better no matter where this fight goes. He could get a submission, but I do at least see this fight at least getting into the second round. So one of my parlays is this: Ramos and Lacerda plus 114. And if we go back to the Lacerda fight, that's the first fight of the night. And then this fight here, the Ramos fight. If you combine them together, you get plus 114. Most books, it's barely even money. It's like a plus 103 on most books. This plus 114 was actually on Bet Rivers. So if you have that, do it there. And then our next fight is Denise versus Pinto. Now, if I read you my write-up from 3 days ago compared to my write-up today, it's like totally different. I went into this thinking I was going to be on Pinto. I was going to be like, hashtag fade Denise. His wrestling sucks. His takedown defense sucks. Everything about him sucks, on the ground, on the mat. But then I got thinking about it, and I'm like, well, what if Pinto doesn't wrestle? Denise is the higher volume striker. Denise has the better combos. Denise has better leg kicks. Does Pinto have the power? Yeah, he does. But if he doesn't connect with a knockout, and if he doesn't wrestle, there's no way that he outpoints Denise for 3 rounds. I just don't see it happening. So saying that, this fight has become a stay away. It was originally going to be a Pinto wager at a plus 115, but it's become a stay away because of all the unknowns. If you want to get a little risky and do Pinto KO or Denise by decision, I don't hate that double method. Or if you want to take a shot on a Pinto takedown, sorry about that. It's only a plus 150 for one takedown, so I don't know about that either. I'm just going to stay away from this fight now. I really wanted to take Pinto, but I just think over 3 rounds, I just think that Denise is going to be the better technical striker, the more higher volume striker. Pinto can sometimes be a little too patient and just not have much volume at all. But he could also find the kill shot, so he's very patient. So it's a stay away for me. But I do lean Denise now, but I would not be shocked at all if Pinto wins. On to the next fight, one of my most confident picks of the night, and the odds reflect it, is Luque versus Alvarez. I like Alvarez a lot here. I think Alvarez is just going to be so much better everywhere. I think his striking, his pressure, his speed, his power, just everything about him is going to be so much better than Luque. If Luque doesn't wrestle and get him down, I see a first round knockout. And even if Luque gets a takedown, Alvarez might just submit him. Alvarez is pretty damn good on the mat, pretty good at scrambles, pretty good at submissions also. He has a lot of submission wins also. But my play in this match is Alvarez by KO plus 155. It's one of my favorite pieces of the entire card, especially at plus 155 it is. I like it a lot. I think he gets an early knockout. As long as it stays on the feet, it's gonna be a pretty quick one here, I think. I think he's just so much better. Like, it's not even close in my opinion. That's why he's a minus 575 or whatever he is. So I like Alvarez by KO at plus 155. And then on to our next fight is Figueiredo versus Jackson. On this fight here, I really do like Jackson. There's a lot of unknowns on the Figueiredo side, or at least some unknowns. Like, how is he really 100% healthy? He had a knee injury like 5 months ago, and we don't even know like what the extent of the injury really was. I mean, it wasn't an ACL tear, I guess, because if it was, he wouldn't be back yet. But what exactly was it? Was it such a minor injury of him pulling out of that fight 5 months ago that he's 100% now? Or was it an injury to where maybe he's 75%, 80%, or could he re-aggravate it, whatever the injury was? There's so many unknowns because they don't usually come out and say exactly what the injury was, So saying that, I gotta fade Figueiredo. Plus, Jackson has a 7-inch reach advantage. That's quite a bit. He's got the power advantage, and I actually think he's slightly faster too. So I like Jackson in this fight, but at a minus 325, I mean, I can't take that on the money line. I've leaned Jackson and decision, but if Figueiredo's not healthy, could it be Jackson inside the distance? It very well could be. So this fight has gone from me being confident on it. I'm still pretty confident on the Jackson side to basically a stay away from me. I'm going to stay away from this fight. If I do anything, it's going to be like, something that's like a plus 150, plus 200 for a little dabble or something. But other than that, I lean Jackson. I like Jackson, but it's a stay away. And then our last fight of the night, Charles Oliveira versus Gamrot. Before I go into this, I will just say Charles Oliveira is my favorite fighter. So I'm probably going to be a little biased towards him. Um, but saying that, with all honesty, I feel like I feel like these odds are wrong. I feel like Oliveira should be like a minus 130, minus 140, not even money. Or I'm I got him at minus 105. I was waiting to see if more money would come in on Gamrot to give me, plus 110 or something. So, um, basically, the way I see this fight, since I haven't even broke it down yet, I just rambled on about how he's my favorite, is Charles Oliveira is a better boxer. He's going to be better on the feet. Now, I will say this: he can sometimes be not the greatest defensively. So that could be the one little worry, um, but I think he's going to be better on the feet. Gamrot's going to be the better wrestler, but that's it. He's not the better jiu-jitsu, and he's not better at submissions. If it goes to the mat, um, Oliveira is going to be more dangerous on the mat than Gamrot is going to be. And so another angle to look at this is one that is already out on FanDuel is Oliveira to have more significant strikes. It's like a plus 108. I don't mind that either. But I'm going to take, here's what I did. I got Oliveira money line minus 105, or you can play if you have DraftKings, you can play over a half a round / money line plus 115. That's that's how I'm gonna play it because I got DraftKings, and you go into same game parlay, make up your own same game parlay, and you play over a half a round, and Oliver on the money line plus 115. If you're afraid of it going over a half a round, then just play the money line, or you could play sub / decision. I think that's a plus 150. Um, something like that. Or if you like inside the distance, that's fine too. But I really like Oliveira here. And then let me pull up some of my wagers that maybe I think I've talked about all of these, but I want to blow it up too so that I can see it better. So my singles are Alvarez KO plus 155. As well, significant strikes over 76.5 minus 115. And I will be laddering this up to 100 plus. Oliveira money line minus 105 over a half a round / money line same game parlay plus 115. And then some to consider for a sprinkle. Plastry KO plus 900. Pinto, one takedown plus 150. Two takedowns is a question mark because they're not out yet. They'll probably come out later on tonight. I'm assuming two will be in the plus 300 range at least. That's interesting look too. I might actually do that one, the plus two. And then Mosquito sub minus 120. And then under 1.5 rounds with it on the submission. I haven't looked it up yet to see what the odds are. I'm assuming plus 150 range. Ah, shit. There. And then now we got our parlays. One of these parlays I have not talked about at all. Ah, shit, that's the wrong one. God damn it. Wrong one. What about this one? You know what? Gosh. I think I screwed up. Okay, yep, here it is. It just wasn't showing up for some reason. So here's what I've got for a couple of parlays. I've got Charles Oliveira plus 9.5, which basically means he has to win one round, pretty much, in order to get this. And then I got Alvarez inside the distance, so he can win by submission or KO plus 103. That's probably my favorite one. Then I got the two-piece of Lacerda and Ramos at a plus 114. Then I've got a three-piece over round props. This is kind of my niche, is these. And I took the Almeida as well fight over 1.5 rounds. Filo and Carpenter over 1.5. And Ramos and Olfi to start second round at a plus 102. Those are my 3 parlays for this. So that's pretty much what I got for UFC Fight Night Oliveira versus Gamrot. Please, if you're watching this, please hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It's been growing a little bit better lately, and I really do appreciate that a lot. I do thank everybody for watching, and I look forward to the next video. Best of luck, everybody. Have a great weekend.